And a happy Tuesday to you. Nice day outside this morning, 35, sunny. Going to be nice today. Rain coming in tomorrow. If you're looking for some baseball to listen to tonight, tune in to WLON. We'll have Bandies and Lincoln. I want to say that those two teams are tied for first place in the CVAC, and that game will be on WLON plus on 1050 WLON.com. That's down at Lincoln. 7 o'clock, David Keever, Michael Powell will have the game for you. We were supposed to have one last Friday night, and it was – did Maiden play West Lincoln?
Yeah.
That was supposed to be the game we had, but we had Tar Heels. Wasn't sure about the rain, so we were afraid if it was a little bit wet, they might start late, and then we couldn't get it finished for the Tar Heels basketball game, and that's an obligation we have to have. So we had to change that up. So we're going with one tonight.
It was a great game.
Bandies and Lincoln. Yes, what I understood.
Kid from West Lincoln, the left-hander, was absolutely
Mason
phenomenal.
Yeah, his uncle.
Phenomenal player.
His uncle.
Lenny, he was in the zone. He was effectively up in the zone. He tilted the plate. He threw his curveball for a strike when he needed to. He could throw it out of the zone to get him to chase. It did start raining, but it was a real heavy mist. It was really weird, which was worse than rain.
Brett Mason.
Oh, he's a great player.
West Lincoln won 5-2, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Brett Mason went 5 innings.
Yeah, he was
had
phenomenal.
10 strikeouts, 2 base on balls, 16 out of 20 first pitch strikes.
It was. And the ones that weren't were competitive.
Yeah.
So he sometimes pitchers throw too many strikes and it gets them in trouble. This kid knows how to pitch. Bobby Dale, Bobby Reynolds had texted me Saturday and asked me how he had done and told me that he plays for him in the summer. I told him he was phenomenal. I said he was just dominant. And, he's got a sneaky fastball too. And the head coach there, John Markley, I coached him in Legion Ball at Hickory. He was a kid that played at Maiden. He played 4 years of college baseball. He understands the game and is doing a good job with those kids. They played hard. We've got a good team. We're just really young.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he is too. But I got to tell you, they did a good job the other night.
I think Brett is the son of one of my former players from West Lincoln, Jeff Mason, if I'm not mistaken. His Uncle Kyle sent that to me, and he said, if you don't mind, give a plug for that. He had a good outing.
Oh, he did. He was
incredible.
incredible,
Yeah.
just dominant. And I was sitting right there on the fence and very much enjoyed watching him pitch, even in the rain.
Yeah. Well, it started raining different places at different times.
That's crazy.
So.
But it was like sheets of mist.
Yeah.
And you can see, how baseball fields are when it gets dark, and football fields, you can see but it wasn't like a rain. It was just like everything was just moving this way. But it was such a heavy mist that we were soaked. I mean,
the bad part about baseball when it's raining is the rain makes, or to me, it's always acted like it makes the ball so slick.
Oh, it's awful, Lanny. When they hit ground balls in the infield.
And it don't take much.
No, they were hitting ground balls in the infield, and there's a vapor trail.
Yeah.
Spinning.
Yeah, that's not good.
We were all like, uh-oh. And there goes one launched. But, kid looks like it's going to be a good throw, fields it clean, all of a sudden, boom, 30 feet over.
I mean, it's like a slimy pig. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. So I've always remembered that from my limited time with baseball. There was a clip, and I'm trying to remember where I saw the clip. And I want to say it was in a Carolina baseball game this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
The coach from the visiting team on a foul ball made the umpire check the ball, thought it had something sticky on it, but nobody came up with anything.
Right.
And then he nailed him on the next strike, struck him out on the third strike. But I thought that was thanks, Richie. It is Jeff Mason. You've said it before. You got to have something to give you a little control, or the way they're pitching, it's going to be out of control.
Right. So the science of baseball, obviously with technology, we all adapt, to trying to become better and more efficient at what we're doing. So one of the things is spin rate, on the ball. And when you have guys throwing that hard and creating that kind of spin, You don't need the ball slipping, and it's there can be too much doctrine of the ball, but there needs to be an overall acceptable. Now, this is just an opinion, of course. An overall acceptable, use of how much you can have, and maybe just have it on your pants leg, where it's already there, and you can just go to it and make sure that that the ball's sticky enough. It doesn't have to be a heavy substance, just enough to make sure you've got control.
Should they make a baseball with a little scuff to it? Would that help?
Well, it could, but it would. It would
slow down the spin and slow things.
Okay. It would change the game a little bit too much with scuff. And what I mean by that is then you really don't need that substance, and you can start throwing. I know this sounds crazy, but you can start throwing ungodly breaking balls if you know how to hold the cut. Because it's all about air getting caught in something to make it move, just to keep it simple. And you can do quite a few things with that.
Morning, Stephen. Glad to
Not
have
that
you
I
with
would
us.
know.
I know. I'm just straight up.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Richie brings up a good point. We talked about it a little bit last night. The end of an era with the Braves with Freddie Freeman. My understanding, they offered him $26 million over 4 years. He's 31 years old. And I'm trying to figure out why that was not enough money.
He wanted to stay longer. And it's heartbreaking, but he wanted a longer contract, and they weren't willing to do it.
But you can't do that anymore. We've talked about that every day. These long-term contracts when you're in your 30s.
Right. So you can structure them, though, where if he's not at a certain production level, what he was wanting was security longer term to be able to keep himself and his family in the same place. They weren't willing to do that. There's much more that none of us know about, behind the scenes. But I can tell you this is, for me, knowing what a great guy he is, the things that he's been through, the things that he and his wife have done and been through, it's not tragic because, there's greater tragedies in the world, but for people that are Atlanta Braves fans that truly love baseball and are purist, he's the guy. He's kind of like Chipper.
And a great locker room guy.
He's just the guy. You look at the old time, of years gone by. He's just that guy, and it just kind of breaks.
But I'm trying. Here's the part that I'm trying to get by. Okay, he has made over the last 5 years almost $100,000 in the last 5 years. $100 million. His career earnings are $123 million.
Okay, so
they offered him 26 for 4. So he's almost at $250 million in career earnings.
The government is, not him.
I understand. I understand.
It's all relative.
He's still making more than I am, even with the government. But here's the thing. I'm trying to. So how much is enough when it comes to pro athletes?
Well, I don't ever think enough. It's all about what the market pays. And what I try to do is look at percentages of things instead of actual dollar amounts. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because if you have $100 and you lose 5%, that's $5, right? So people either look at things in percentages or they look at things in dollars. And I think he's looking at percentages, based on family legacy and things he wants to do. And, people can criticize it all they want. They have every right to do that. But in that, it's kind of like, when you go to a let's say that you were to go, not you, but you go to a job interview that everybody made, the position was paying $110,000 a year. And everybody that applied for it, whoever got the job was going to get that. That's the same thing as this. It's just at much larger numbers because of the venue that they're in. So, it really is not about so much about the dollars because they're going to get paid that as much as it is about what their needs and what their wants are.
I'm just trying to figure out. He has been in the league for
it's been
8 years.
Yeah, 7 or 8 years. I would say, yeah,
8 years. He's had a contract for 8 years, and I'm just he didn't get into the majors till he was 24. So he's 32.
Right, he processed.
So
through.
if he gets 4 more years, if he got another 4-year contract, 36. I'm trying to figure out if I were running a team, it would be hard for me to give that more than 4 years because I'm not convinced that at 36 I can't find another 24-year-old to be as productive for my team,
right,
and contribute based on that age difference.
No, and I agree with that because you're always looking to redefine your team anytime you can, regardless of who or what, right? But I think the one thing that's interesting is that 24-year-old in 5 or 6 years that may be 24 then that could replace him cannot bring the intangibles. And
I agree.
No, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I think that's the other way to look at that, and kind of what Freddie's saying. Look, I've invested myself completely into this. It's not that he felt like he deserved it. That's what he was wanting to solidify it, to be able to play in one place and retire in Atlanta. And that's just, that is not the way they're looking at it. And
baseball has gotten such a bad history of overpaying players long term when they're still not contributing. And baseball is the one, and you see it some in football, but they wind up paying them for what they've done instead of what they're contributing.
Right, or their perception of being able to do this.
If I were going to do that, I would back load contracts,
yeah,
and then just get them out.
So the interesting thing is that's what makes the NFL, the Major League Baseball, different than the NFL and the NBA. The NBA and NFL are always paying people on what they could possibly do, but yet all these people end up getting hurt, or they don't do this, or they opt out, or what. You don't see that in baseball because they have to be proven and true because of the specific skill set. It's not about being able to run, a 4.2 40. It's not about being able to bench press 225 38 times. That has nothing to do.
But the other side of it, in baseball, they have seen what they can do before they ever give them the big contract. In the NFL, you don't get that.
That's the
and
disconnect.
Even in the NBA anymore, because of the one and done, you got a very limited
I
history.
agree, and that's due to a minor league system, but it's because of the skill-specific nature. That's why hockey has a minor league system. It's the skill-specific nature of hitting the puck on moving ice, all right, and then hitting the baseball. It's not that – people that don't play baseball or hockey aren't good athletes. It's a different type of skill set that requires masterization of something in order to get paid for it, where in football it's all about, well, how fast is it? Everybody trains 7-on-7 in high school. In my opinion, what they should be doing is making sure that their linemen from the age of 9 and 10 and 11 years old that they think will be are training those kids to be able to move their feet, because that's where the game is still won and lost. It's not through the air. And I say the game. I'm not talking about individual games. I'm talking about championships.
Yeah.
That's where it's won. People can talk about Shelby all they want. They've always had a dominant offensive and defensive line, and they've had great skill kids. The skill kids get all, and rightfully so, they get a lot of credit. But I will tell you, the years that I coached against Shelby and the teams that I've seen since I've been coaching, they were very good at inside linebacker and front line, and same thing on defense, and same thing on offense, same thing, and that's what wins championships. You can throw the ball around all the field all you want, but if you can't control the line, it's just like warfare, Laney. You send your infantry.
You don't have the front lines.
That's what I'm talking about. You can drop the planes and all you want. They're going to shoot them out of the sky. It's the same thing with this. Okay.
Richie said, and we talked about this a little bit off the air, Juju and I did last night, with the adoption of the DH in the National League. He could have slid into that role if he wasn't able to be an everyday first baseman. It still comes down to money. It's what it comes down to.
Richie's right, but I think Fred, to Richie's point here, I think Freddie's still really good at first, and somebody that the players are comfortable with. You can't discount that in a player with that kind of longevity and that kind of consistency. Just base it off play alone, and I think that's where most it's about the whole body of the player. It's like Jeter. Jeter was not the best shortstop for the Yankees could have had the last 4 or 5 years, but because he was the captain, because he was the guy. And it's not because he was Derek Jeter. It's because of the great player in person that he was. that's why he stayed there and they were able to do what they did.
Andrew said, to me, if you're the Braves, you almost have to figure out how to make it work. However, that's easy for me to say.
Andrew's right.
Bob said Freeman should have signed and then earned himself more years contractually. Any business pays performance, not potential.
Yeah.
And Steven said Shelby D-line this year against East Surrey is one of the best lines I've seen in a long time. They're always the best line, Steven. I don't know what you're thinking.
It was crazy. Their defensive ends.
Yeah.
Oh, God. It was unbelievable.
I always said Shelby doesn't rebuild, they reload.
Reload, yeah.
Yep. Let me take our first break, and then we'll be back, and we'll talk a little more baseball.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. At Stifel Nicholas, we're committed to offering investors personalized investment guidance. We're a full-service organization with department staffed with professionals that specialize in a wide range of investment opportunities, from the most conservative to the most aggressive. We strive to give each account, regardless of size, careful, individual attention. Call Fort Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC and the New York Stock Exchange. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill. And all right, let's talk Atlanta Braves baseball for just a minute. Andrew said Freddie isn't about potential; he has performed, and I agree. Mm-hmm. I agree, but I still would be leery of a long-term contract for the same reason.
Define long-term, like what you mean, like more than 40. I mean, is that what you mean, like more than 4 years?
Depending upon the age.
Yeah, okay.
Like if you've crossed 30 in baseball, I'd be hesitant to give more than 4. Okay. And especially somebody like Freddie that he's played every day. 162 games plus playoffs is a long time. It's kind of like LeBron. You know, LeBron has a couple extra years of wear and tear on the body just from playoffs.
Right.
And that's real. I mean, that's real when it comes to mileage on the body.
Doesn't he take games off during the year?
He does. But I don't think he takes that many off. But And the other side of it is, I would not be as concerned with a long-term contract if they weren't fully guaranteed.
Okay, and I get it. I get it. You know, it's a shame that most people don't have the.
And the NFL's going that way too.
Well,
and that's going to really come bite them on you know what.
Yeah, that's not a good thing in NFL. Not for long league. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, anyway. Go ahead.
But on the brighter side, they are getting a really good player.
He's great, like one of the greatest guys in Major League Baseball.
I mean, they're getting a really good player. He's not Freddie Freeman. And if you watch some of the highlight reels of Freddie talking smack to the pitchers and different stuff, I mean, he's just he's one of those personable guys. Now, maybe this guy can develop into it. You know, I don't know. I don't think it was done because they're jettisoning, you know, players and that kind of thing. I just feel like baseball has a much better opportunity to cut payroll and play young without quite the same damage to the product because of the minor league system.
Yeah, I mean, well, a lot of times too is, you know, he's the can't miss prospect. He's going to be the best ever. There's no way, you know. I mean, it's like that in baseball. There's people that make decisions from all the way from college baseball all the way to Major League Baseball that evaluate the talent and make the best decision that they think based on what they see. But what they can't factor in is how is this person going to adapt to that way of life? What is their background? What is their history? You know, were they someone, you know, that spent a lot of time, you know, being in trouble, you know, maybe not necessarily at school, but, you know, in their neighborhood, you know, because they're always fighting somebody or wanting that, you know, you can say, well, that's because they're motivated and they've got the moxie and all of that. Yeah, but there's a deeper issue there. You know, it's like Josh Hamilton, you know, as great a player as he was, as messed up as he'd been and the comebacks that he had made, you know, and they didn't miss on him. They just didn't provide the consistency that was needed. And the problem is in baseball, they're always trying to reinvent themselves too soon instead of, you know, progressing along. Because how many times do you see a player leave an organization, go somewhere else for 3 or 4 years, and then where they go? They come back. Now, what in the – I mean, okay, what? So, I don't know, man.
Matt Olson is the player we're talking about. He is 4 years younger.
Yeah.
6'5", 225.
Good player. Yeah, absolutely.
Batted .271 last year.
Yeah.
39 home runs, tied for sixth. 111 RBIs, tied for sixth.
Yeah.
On base percentage, .911. He was 12th. And so it's not that he's not a good player. Here again, and this is one of the things that I say about anything. Baseball, football, the games are still businesses.
Yep.
And when you get emotional, you don't make good business decisions.
Oh, sure. No, it's like that in anything. It's like that with I mean, you're very right. It's like that with anything. And the problem, see, the issue I have with Matt Olson coming over and them getting rid of Freddie, it's going to take Olson 2 to 3 years to get used to the National League pitching. I'm glad he's a great player, but it takes a while to dial into the pitching that you're going to face.
I didn't
and
look up.
Yeah, with him coming over from Oakland, you know, that's another fact. So if you can hit, you can hit. Man, that is the dumbest statement anybody can make. If you can hit, you can hit. No. It is a science, and these guys have charts.
I'll go and tell you, I can't hit.
And I mean, it is insane. It is insane what, you know, the amount of information they've got.
And it was a money thing. Matt Olson has made $20 million in his career.
Okay.
You know, he just now came into it. 2012 was his first year in the league. In 2016, he made $58,000.
Yeah, I mean, think of it like this: two
American League Gold Gloves.
Absolute great player, no problem. No, defense is not going to be an issue. It's going to be getting used to the pitching, and then they're just going to even having more charts on him, and more. I mean, which is fine. You know, Tony Gwynn made a living off of studying pitchers. You know, this guy's very good at what he does. But I'm going to tell you, if it doesn't work out, then I'm telling you, the people in Atlanta are furious about Freddie leaving. Mm-hmm. You know, that's like their new chipper.
You okay with that?
I'm not. I don't think I'm not okay with him leaving.
Okay.
I would have given him the contract because of what he does and what he brings, and they can bring in another bomber to DH or put Freddie in the. I mean, come on. You can skimp in left field, okay, and make that money up, all right, for a really bad, you know. I mean, you can skimp in left field. You can bring up Joe Schmo.
Now, I haven't seen what Freddie was asking for. I just know what they offered. But you're saying you thought it was the length of the contract more than anything else. Mm-hmm. How about this one? This was a good topic, and I don't think anybody's surprised by this. Mm-hmm. Here's a survey that said Americans could bet $3.1 billion over the length of the NCAA tournament.
I'm sure.
$3.1 billion. This is the American Gaming Association, released Sunday. An estimated 45 million people could combine to wager $3.1 billion on the tournament through pools, sports books.
Huh? Are taxes paid on that?
Depends on.
I don't go anywhere near
it,
so I don't know what. But if
you do it through a registered sports book, yeah, you're going to get a $10.99 if you win. Right. You know what's wrong with that? Let me go ahead and get on my soapbox here for just one moment. I'm okay with them taxing my winnings, but you got to let me write off my losses. It's one-sided when it comes to gambling. They will not let you write off your losses, but they make you claim your winnings. That's not quite right, especially if you go through a book.
You know, it's all
and with
about
it becoming more legal, I'm wondering if that'll change.
Well, at times, it just feels like the governing immoral or taking the moral high ground when convenient for them.
That's correct.
And, I'm not an anti-government guy by any means, but I think they're, like anything else, the government wants all of us to be accountable. I think they should be accountable.
Consistency.
Yeah. And, the crazy thing is the government – set up for, of, and by the people, right? Mm-hmm. But it doesn't seem to be working that way right now.
Nope.
And I'm talking about anything from local all the way to state to national. And the reason I'm bringing this up is it has a direct effect and indirect effect on people and their activities that they do within their communities. And the problem I have with this is the inconsistency is you could have 146 people in a bowling alley, but they only want 100 people at a football game. Mm-hmm. Outside.
Well, the Kyrie Irving thing.
Okay.
He could sit in the stands, but the Nets got fined $50,000 because they allowed him into the locker room at a home game. But he can be in the locker room in the home game at away games. I mean, but not the home game.
Right. And what I'm saying is that things are different. People have different opinions, and that is completely fine. There's no issue with that. I don't care how extreme whatever on either side people are. That is their right, their business. I may not agree with it, but it's their right. The problem that I have is the inconsistency, like you brought up, because of the effects it had on my son and millions of other kids that was needless, ridiculous, and way overprotective. We don't need more mommies and daddies. If people can't take care of the kids, that's their problem. For the people that can, I don't need somebody telling me when it's safe and when it's not safe. I just need you to give me the information and let me make the decision. Okay.
Everybody's lawsuit scared.
Okay.
That's what it goes down.
We live in a compliant world with no accountability.
Yeah.
That's what's amazing.
That's correct.
How many people went to prison in the financial crisis for some of the things that were done? Oh, they were fined tens of millions of dollars. Well, all they did was just pay back their stock options and everything else. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
Nobody went to prison.
It's a wash.
But yet somebody can do this little minor thing over here, and all of a sudden they got 5 years in prison for that.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's got to stop.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm done.
I don't think it will.
Thank you.
There's an estimated 45 million people going to wager, and this is 3 times more than was estimated to have been bet on this past year's Super Bowl.
Holy cow.
Okay? So that means a billion. There are 30 states, 9 more than last year, and the District of Columbia have launched legal betting markets. Approximately 29 million more American adults can legally wager in their home state compared to last year's NCAA tournament.
Right.
Now, I'll go ahead and tell you, North Carolina is not one of those. We'll probably be the last one because we just don't feel like it's right, except for the lottery. We'll take all that money that we can. So it'll be interesting to see how that happens. I am surprised that every state that has a professional sports team, I don't care what it is, hockey, football, baseball, basketball, I am surprised that those states weren't the first ones to get the sports books, to legalize the betting. And now, because of the online stuff, it really doesn't matter. But I just think it's interesting to see that. I've always – I mean, how long have office pools went on with the NCAA? For years.
Yeah.
For years.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of interesting to see how much was going to be bet on that.
Oh, yeah, and it is. And, it's interesting to me that, regulation and betting really are kind of the same thing. They're all about control. Mm-hmm. People say, well, you're betting. That's speculation. You can't, control it. You're not understanding what I'm saying. You got to look into it a little deeper, right? Mm-hmm. So with Brady, talking about betting, wonder what the odds are of him going back to not winning, but going back to the Super Bowl now that he's back.
I text Juju, I'll make you the same offer.
Yeah. I saw it.
I'll take the field.
Yeah.
I don't think he goes back.
Well, if they get the players back and they know what hurdles that they have to overcome based on what they saw and they know what they got to do, with his experience and his ability to be able to manipulate the game, I give him a better than 50, 60% chance of going back because he has done this before. He's regrouped in New England when they've gotten beat in championship, in championship games, to not go to the Super Bowl and then come back and done it.
I don't know how high his tolerance level is to how do I put this? I know what he can do and I know what he can accomplish, but there's a lot of internal aggravation he's not happy with at Tampa.
Interesting. Such as? They
don't have the military control like Belichick had. It's a very laid-back atmosphere from everything that I've read, and Brady struggles with that. Brady's all business all the time when it comes to games.
Right.
And I think that was part of the reason that he stepped away, and I think he wanted to go play somewhere else. And they made it very clear, if you're playing next year, you're playing in Tampa. And so I'm wondering how much that's going to play into I've said all along, the longest distance in any sport is 6 inches between your ears, the mental game of anything you do. And I'm wondering how much at his age that monkey gets on his back and he struggles to deal with it from an emotional and just a concentration mental side. I mean, he won't have to explode on too many people too often, and they'll roll up the mats, even if he is Tommy. Well, I just don't want him to get hurt, and I'm afraid that's what's going to happen. I'm afraid it's going to be a bad exit when he decides to. He should have went out on top. He should have retired after the Super Bowl win.
But he was the NFL. He should have been the MVP this year with his stats. That's the thing about it. He's still one of the top 2 or 3 performers in the league. So he's not going out. Or, you know what I'm saying, in a declining mode, he's still on top of the game. Now, people can argue that's when you need to go out, kind of to your point, which I do not disagree with. But I think from his point of view, his mindset, that he's still up here as an elite player and wants to continue to do that. And I think when he sees he's not, remember, Max Kellerman and all these guys like 5 and 6 years ago were saying Brady's done. You're seeing the unraveling. You're seeing the unfolding. You're seeing this. That's what I'm talking about in this sport. I think the individual athlete has got to be the one that understands when is when.
But therein lies the problem. Most of them can't. They can't draw that line.
Well, no, I agree. I agree with that 100%, but I would say Brady is different.
Okay.
I would say that.
Can you name the last really top-tier quarterback that said, I've had enough and went out on top?
Would you say Marino? Or was he Did he go out on top? Like,
well, he never got there. I would
no,
say
I meant
Elway. John
Elway.
Elway.
I'm sorry, you talking about winning the Super Bowl? Like,
well,
on
just
top
I
of
mean, they feel like they've peaked in their career.
Elway?
Because he went out after a Super Bowl.
Right. And,
Marino could still play, but he still wasn't as effective.
They just couldn't. Right.
But I go back and I think about Johnny Unitas going to the Chargers.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning is an exception. Peyton Manning was on a team that won a Super Bowl. Peyton Manning did not win a Super Bowl in Denver. He was on a team. That's correct.
The game.
Yes. That's correct.
No.
He was Trent Dilfer at the Ravens when they won, back in the day. Yeah. But you think about Joe Montana. I mean, he even went to the Chiefs and still about did it. But there's too many pieces that have to come together in a short period of time.
Cam Newton. Oh, I'm sorry.
Cam Newton. I mean, he can't say when.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
Well, and I think
Joe
some
Namath.
Of the guys, I think some of the guys too may not be in position to say when. Because of Pat, and I'm not saying him, but I'm saying not Cam but I'm just giving an example that some of them may be hanging around because they have to, or they feel like they have to. There's just a lot that goes into that. Barry Sanders is the guy to me that comes to mind when you
Calvin
say,
Johnson.
Yeah, they go out
Jim Brown
on top of their game when nobody's better than they are.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but when I look at all the running backs in NFL that have ever played, and I look at Barry Sanders, it's arguable, but it's hard for anybody to convince me. All right, now I did not watch Jim Brown play with these eyes, so I can't be fair with him about that. But since I've been watching football since I was about 2 or 3 years old and observing people and their behavior, Barry Sanders has to be.
And I'd agree.
He has to be that guy.
I would agree. I would agree. And it's just – I just don't like to see that happen. And the other thing, and I'd like to know the answer to this question. Brady says he has unfinished business. What unfinished business and what does he have left to achieve and accomplish?
No AB. No BS in the locker room.
Yeah.
Win a Super Bowl. I truly believe if Antonio Brown had not been part of that team, that they would have been in the Super Bowl. Not won it, but have been in it. I truly believe that. I think it had more of an effect, even though they did a great job as professionals as downplaying it. But they put themselves in that situation. And I have no problem with giving anybody another opportunity. AB got a couple more than most people would. But what did it show for? And that's the problem I have when you talk about talent only instead of the makeup of the person, i.e. Freddie Freeman. That's the problem I have.
All right.
Got to go.
You got it. All right. We're going to get out of here. Have a great day. Tomorrow I'll be back. Juju will call in as well as we should be able to talk to Bill Bender. Have a great day, and I will see you in the morning sometime. Have a good one.